What's up, sports bettors? You can see that lines here are on the move in the NFL. So the Colts just moved, for example, on Come On from plus 240 to plus 235. Same thing with on DraftKings. And then here you can see DraftKings Tennessee just has slightly worse odds than DraftKings, probably due to state regulations or something like that. So tracking the line movements, I found three sharp NBA picks, and that's what we're going to be going through. Okay, I say this all the time, but as a sharp bettor, what you're going to see is I have college basketball, I'll have, college football, I'll have player props, we'll have all different sorts of bets across sports books. Frickin' tennis, I think I have some tennis plays open. I got Casper Ruud. So what we're going to be going through is just some sharp bets. And I say this all the time, but all I'm doing in these videos is just giving out the plays I'm on. So there's a sheet, in the description on YouTube, just with the plays I gave out on YouTube yesterday. We're also tracking profit and loss for live streams. But again, these are just things I'm putting my own personal money on. So Jazz +5, Flames Panthers over 7, both of those cashed. Of course, we don't always have winning days. That's not what I'm trying to make it seem like. But again, these are things I'm riding with you guys on. So here you can see Jazz +7. And then here you can see the over 7 in Flames Panthers, which was a huge cash. Then we had Troy -14. Missouri State -1. So those were kind of the four big wins, right? All using data, market information to find plays with an edge. Not every day is a winning day. Yesterday definitely was a winning day. So let's go ahead. Let's get into my first NBA pick, which is right here. So we're on the Pistons Kings. What I ended up taking, just filtering for the NBA, is the Pistons +10.5. I know there's NFL today, but as a sharp bettor, I don't really frickin' care. There's value in tennis. I'll place bets on tennis. I placed this bet last night during college football because that's where the value was. And I'm trying to make money. I'm not just trying to get bets on big games, which makes absolutely no sense. The same math, the same strategies that apply to betting on the NFL, finding value, beating the VIG, applies to NBA, college football, college basketball, EPL, whatever, right? So anyways, let's go ahead. Let's go through it. Why do we like this play? The first thing you'll notice is every bookie setting a line for the Pistons +10.5, aside from WinBet, is pricing this -121 to -140, right? So then if you click into the odds, what you're going to notice is hey, most sports books, they actually have the spread for this game at 9.5 or 10. So we're getting a point of value to the market. Right? So what you're going to notice is not every sports book, such as Ballybet, you can see right here, right? They don't offer these alternate lines. DraftKings, you can bet on all these different point spreads, right? I think they're called, I'm not exactly sure what they're called. I just call them alternate spreads. But you can see, you can take the Kings -12.5, -12, whatever. So what you're going to notice is for these books that offer alternate spreads, they all have lines heavily juiced towards the Pistons +10.5, right? And this is why it's so easy, not easy, but possible to make money sports betting, right? The market's constantly moving around. In all these bookmakers, you have hundreds of data points. All of them are markets. They're like their own little stock exchanges, setting lines independently, right? So as a sharp bettor, you just want to look at all the data in the market to try to tease out those few rare betting opportunities. I mean, here, you can see at the time, there was only 2 profitable NBA bets. 2. So anyways, I ended up locking this in. We can talk about it a little more. Pistons +10.5. I took it for the max I could, which was 3.3K. And I say this all the time, but if you go over to Caesar Sportsbook, a lot of people are why are there profitable bets? And there's really 2 reasons, right? The first is look at how many lines are offered on these sports books. You have all these alternate spreads. Browns +23.5. If you watch it move, to Browns, -7.5. These are all things you can bet. TD scores, prop bets, team totals, right? Team totals, alternate team totals. I mean, there's literally limitless things you can bet on. In these sports books, they have the advantage on us, which is they charge the VIG, right? They charge a spread, but they can't always keep lines in check. They screw up occasionally. So what we're looking for, we don't need a bet on every game. We're looking for those few rare betting opportunities out of the millions of odds in the market. We're trying to make this data actionable, right? So we're hey, point out, the few plays that are actually profitable, which is exactly what this positive EV tool tries to do for you. And again, I say this all the time, but there's lots of ways to skin the cat. It's not like this EV tool is the only way to make money, right? But it's all about using data. In sports betting, it's wild. You have all these data points. Every sportsbook is an independent data point telling you where the line should be set. So all you do is you look at all that information in the market, and then you just find these plays on WinBet, such as this one right here, right? The Pistons plus 10.5, where clearly they're asleep at the wheel and giving you a price that's way too good to be true, and you're beating the vig. And it's only possible because sportsbooks have different odds. So the way I view it, and the way sharp sports bettors view it, profitable bettors, is we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Well, these are the same, so 10. We have 10 data points all telling us, hey, Pistons plus 10.5 should be priced, as a heavier favorite. And we're getting minus 110. So this bet has a positive profit margin, and it may seem low, but the thing you also need to remember is we have really high confidence that this bet is good, because there's so many sportsbooks posting odds, right? Like, we have so much data all indicating to us the exact same thing. Pistons plus 10.5 is a play with a positive profit margin, right? Like, you can see Ballybet, for example, a lot of sportsbooks, they have the Pistons plus 9.5 juiced. We're getting an extra point in value, and we're getting better odds. Bet online, we're getting a full point of value. And I say this all the time, but when you're betting at minus 110 juice, you don't have to win every single bet, to make money in the long run. You only have to win 52.38% of your wagers to win on point spreads and totals. Most people looking at totals, they're 50% to win, right? Like, blindly selecting over or under. Every game goes over or under. So blindly selecting over or under, you'll win 50% of the time. Most people can't hit this threshold. Most people can't even hit 51% because they don't use math, they don't use data. They're square, they follow handicappers, yada, yada, yada. Right? So this is the first play we're on. And again, we're on it because there's a very clear edge. We're winning, over 52.38% of the time. So what you can do is you can go over to a no-vig odds calculator, and what you'll notice is you're always going to be getting better odds for any positive EV play. You're always getting better odds than the no-vig line. So what I like to do sometimes is okay, PointsBet's market, they have the Pistons plus 10.5 minus 140. They have the Kings minus 10.5 plus 110. So if we put that in here, what you'll notice is hey, according to PointsBet in their model, according to the lines they're setting, their market, this bet is 55% to win. We just said you only have to win 52.38% of the time to win at minus 110 juice. PointsBet saying this bet's 55.06% to occur, right? The no-vig line is minus 122. So we're getting a higher win rate, which is why our bet is profitable. We're winning this bet more often. But PointsBet, they're not the sharpest sports book, so then we put in BetMGM's market. BetMGM is saying, hey, you're winning this bet 54.68% of the time. Once again, this play at minus 110 looks incredible. DraftKings, plus 100, minus 135. 53.47, no-vig odds, minus 115. Once again, this looks incredible. So you put in every single sports book, and this play continues to look incredible. It's plus EV to every sports book. 5 Dimes, sharp offshore sports book. Bodog, Bovada. Play looks incredible, right? First play I locked in. Next, and again, what I recommend doing if you're new to sports betting is start out betting small. I started out betting $5-10 and just track your bets ruthlessly. OddsJam's bet tracker is free, and also integrating a sports book is completely free. And I think it's useful. Again, you can't do this. It only works for these sports books, which is a little annoying, but FanDuel, DraftKings don't allow this. But all it does is it automatically pulls all your bets from the sports books and shows you your profit and loss. So what you need to get used to is losing streaks. Every sports bettor goes on losing streaks. Just because you have an edge doesn't mean, you're going to win every single bet. We have an edge on this bet, but it's still going to lose, 45, 46% of the time, right? But it's still an incredibly profitable play. A lot of people don't understand why this play is so good, And the way to think about it is like, wow, 1.3% return on capital. We have really high confidence that this play is really good, right? We have so much data all indicating to us that this play is incredible at minus 110. 1.3% daily return. Imagine that in a month, that's a 40% return. 40% ROI month over month isn't bad, and that's how, you grow your bankroll. Or if you actually want to grow your bankroll, that's how you think about sports betting. So that's the first play I locked in. And you can see it right here, 42.57 in profit margin. Right? But again, just like tracking your bets is useful because, again, you don't have to do anything. You can sync a few sports books and you can just look back, after, placing tens of thousands of bets or thousands of bets. I mean, placing a bet takes like 2 seconds. Some people act like it takes forever, right? You got to know how to navigate these sports books, though. This is day trading, so like you don't want to be too slow. But I mean, after, placing thousands of bets, you can look back at the data and be like, okay, I have an edge, I don't have an edge, right? So regardless of if you, ever use OddsJam or even bet plus EV, you should probably track your bets. It's like just good advice. So, wins, losses, you'll see them all here. Next play I ended up going with is in a parlay. So I ended up parlaying them together. I like parlays, and people always say parlays aren't profitable. It's like, that's not true. I don't know where people get that from, but it's not true. It's absolutely not true. And usually I have all leagues selected, on OddsJam. You can see there's some World Cup plays, World Cup lines starting to move, whatever. This is an NBA video. But 2 parlay picks, finding out our win probability. This parlay has a $20 edge. We have a bunch of videos about the math behind parlays, so I won't dwell on it. But the same thing, it's very freeing in sports betting to just follow a mathematical betting strategy, right? A market-driven betting strategy. So I parlayed these 2 plays together, right? Just looking for the bet in bold with a circle around it. 2 plays on WinBet. A lot of people will ask me like, hey, why do you have bets on WinBet today? Why no plays on Underdog? And typically it's, depends where you're located. About to go home to Virginia. There's different sports books legal, right? Every state, as you'll see on OddsJam, every country has different sports books. So it's not like there's, the same bookies everywhere. Some places there's only Prize Picks, Underdog Fantasy, whatever. But you can see here we're getting under 222.5 at minus 110 on WinBet. Very high confidence this play's good. In the market, it's minus 120 to minus 135. PointsBet a little less aggressive on the under, but Pinnacle, it's an arb, right? This is an arbitrage bet. So if you're not aware of arbitrage, also we have some tutorials if you're interested in learning more about mathematical betting strategy, making money. And then we also have, I'm going to be writing a lot more just in terms of like, sports betting strategy, because I know not everyone has time to watch YouTube videos. So I ended up parlaying these together for the max I could, which was 550. And those are the 2 plays I'm tracking, right? So we have $20 in profit margin on that play. We have this play, Pistons plus 10.5. 2 picks. I added them to this sheet, or maybe I didn't yet. We should check. So if I have Pistons, I did. So they're both right here. And then let's make some money.